Is Bitcoin about to crash? In the last 24 hours, Bitcoin has lost just under 11%. Now, in a previous video that I did on the 20th of November, I actually predicted that the price of Bitcoin will drop. Let's have a look at that clip. With Bitcoin breaking through the all-time high, I'm not so sure that that's going to happen this year. Personally, I think what we're going to see is we're going to see a bit of a pullback coming down, and then as we go into next year, we're going to see that Bitcoin is going to go up in value even more. So as you can see in that video, I was expecting the probability that Bitcoin would have a pullback. And let's just have a look at what's happened with Bitcoin in the last 24 hours. Is this the end of the road for Bitcoin? Has it failed? It's another attempt to crack that all-time high. Well, let's have a look at what's happening at the moment. At the moment, the sellers have control. So that means the price will start to pull back even more because as people panic. Now, what caused this panic is what I believe was a piece of news that came out in the last 24 hours. And that was that the Trump administration may be rushing through a burdensome crypto wallet rules, which caused people to panic. And that was going to be affecting Coinbase. There's going to be an article coming out this weekend. It's going to be on the mainstream media in America about Coinbase. Watch what happens to Bitcoin over this weekend. Does that mean you should go out and sell your Bitcoin because it's all over? Well, I want to play you a clip that was on the CNBC News this morning. There was a statement from Michael Saylor. Now, Michael Saylor, if you want to Google him, go and Google him. He's worth a lot of money. He runs a software company. The company's worth over just under $500 million. But let's play that clip to show you what he thinks is going to be happening in the Bitcoin market.
Let's bring in Michael Saylor, CEO of MicroStrategy. Michael, great to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
We had you on because you're the CEO of a software company who decided to invest your cash into Bitcoin. And I'm wondering how you came about that decision. Were you thinking we've got a lot of cash because our business generates a lot of cash? So, could it be treasuries or money market, straight up cash or Bitcoin? I mean, what was your thought process?
Well, the story here is, due to the rapid expansion of the monetary supply by the central banks, the cost of capital has tripled from 5% to 15% over the past year. And if we look out over the next 4 years, bond coupons and EPS growth rates are going to need to exceed that hurdle in order to preserve wealth. We had 500 million worth of cash, but we knew we were going to generate another 500 million worth of cash. And we realized that if we held it in cash, it was going to debase by 10, 15% a year, and I didn't want to lose half of it. So what isn't so well understood is the BTC. Bitcoin is the best safe haven treasury reserve asset in the world right now, and it's engineered to be superior to gold in all aspects. So that being the case, a lot of people understand the asset story of Bitcoin. It's up 100% annually each year for the past decade, more or less. Mm-hmm. What they don't understand is that Bitcoin's it's a monetary network. And as a monetary network, it's capable of storing and channeling energy over time without power loss. Uh-huh. So we got really excited about this idea, and we saw it as a solution for the store of value problem, not just for the $300 trillion of capital in the world, but for the 7.5 billion people on the planet. And so that's pretty compelling.
Mm-hmm. Sorry to interrupt, Michael, but cash on a balance sheet and wanting to preserve the power of that cash is one thing. Investing it in something that's speculative is another. I mean, are you a software company or are you a Bitcoin hedge fund at this point? I mean, why bother with the software part of the business if your belief truly is that Bitcoin is going to go up 100% every year, going forward?
Well, first of all, we do have a software company generating cash, but if we simply swept the cash into fiat currency and allowed it to base at 15% a year, we'd be losing as much on the balance sheet as we generated from the P&L. So that didn't make sense. On the other hand, the traditional concerns about Bitcoin have been that it might be hacked, it might be copied, it might be banned. And after a decade, it hasn't been hacked. No one's managed to copy it. It's not going to be banned. So although people look at it as being volatile, it's volatile maybe in the first decade. The next decade going forward, it doesn't look like it's going to be that volatile. It actually looks like it's emerging as the primary Treasury reserve asset for people that are looking for some way to avoid the great monetary inflation.
How do you view though the size of your Bitcoin position relative to the size of your business? And is there a point at which, even just for portfolio management purposes, you trim your Bitcoin position in order to be conservative? I mean, your enterprise value is what, $2.4 billion or so? I'm not sure what your Bitcoin position is. You initially invested $400 million or so back in August, and that position's got to be enormous by now.
Well, look, we love the enterprise business intelligence business, and we want to be in it, but we don't want to decapitalize the company by drawing our treasury to zero, and we don't want to allow our treasury to be debased by 10 or 20% a year either. So we had to do something. I think that as investors start to understand the Bitcoin story, they're going to migrate their capital on the Bitcoin network, and that's going to create a virtuous cycle of adoption, followed by price appreciation, followed by value accretion, followed by technology integration from companies like, you see Square and PayPal. It'll be Apple and Google shortly. That's going to drive more adoption. And that means that you really want to plug your company into the Bitcoin monetary network, right? It's probably the biggest thing that's happened over the past decade. It's going to be bigger than the FANG stocks. It's going to be bigger than Apple, Amazon, Facebook, the social networks. And it's the ideal time to plug into it because 99% of the investors don't understand what I just said. And with $350 billion of monetary energy in the Bitcoin network, it's all but unstoppable at this point.
Now, I'm sure you'll agree with me that Bitcoin is certainly not at the end of its run. Based on what Michael Saylor just said, if we come back and look at the chart here, these candles, you see, when they don't touch the Bollinger Band, I call these the overbuy candles, okay, the floating candles. And I like to see Bitcoin drop back into this middle Bollinger Band, which it's done now. So I believe that we're going to see a little correction now over the next sort of few days and weeks. But certainly, this is not the end game for Bitcoin. I believe that Bitcoin is going to be climbing high as we go into next year. I'm not a financial advisor. This is only my personal opinion. Now, if you don't have the money to buy Bitcoin at the moment, but you're interested in earning Bitcoin on a daily basis, then below this video, if you're watching this on my blog, click a button. If you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, leave me a comment below this video and I'm going to send you some information so that you can earn Bitcoin on a daily basis completely passive. You have an amazing day, and what an exciting time for Bitcoin right now. Bye now.